If it's happening in New York, New Jersey, or Long Island, hear about it with Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.
Portions of this show sponsored by Hudson Honda.
Jersey Joe on the radio, 827. Jersey Joe live in New York, New York. We are right downtown, right by Wall Street, next to the Trinity Church, a block away from the Freedom Tower. Proud to be in New York, and this is a proud Jersey boy, proud to be in the city of New York, New York, and we're on camera on AM970answer.com. Hi, YouTubing and Facebooking. It's so funny. David Berg, Super Chef, was in. Curtis Ellis, kind enough to join us. He is with America First Policy, Senior Policy Advisor for the administration of Washington. Kind enough. I'm so glad we could feed you, man.
Man, here are Jersey Joe's Diner.
I know, it's just unbelievable. How great is that salmon?
Oh, it's amazing.
He put the edge. He put like a pastrami edge on the edge of it. This is great with the lettuce, the arugula, and how about the Brooklyn Bridge, Curtis? Is this great? So please,
if you like this, I got a bridge to sell you. It's a chocolate one, but it's a Brooklyn Bridge.
Hey man, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. Hey. You know, it's so crazy. Before I get,
I'm going to be here every day with food like this.
You are more than well. We will. It's worth it because we need you here because we are the translators. Everything's okay. This is crazy what's getting out of hand. And we talk about the tariffs. That's right. Curtis Ellis. And I don't even want to go to Michael Cohen, to Stormy Daniels, to James Comey. Let's push all of that nonsense gossip, soap opera aside. And let's talk about, first and foremost, when the president goes tariffs, and then President Xi answers back, goes, maybe we'll talk. This is monumental.
It is. It's a huge change. For how many years? For decades, for 40 years, we were talking, the jobs got to go to China, and everybody ignores the fact that they're cheating. China is stealing our jobs. They're stealing our jobs. It's destroyed vast areas of the country.
Yeah,
and then,
well said.
And then on top of it, China then sells all of the dope that's coming into this country comes from China. People don't know that. The heroin comes from Mexico, but the fentanyl, which is the synthetic heroin, coming from factories in China.
Wow.
And China won't even acknowledge that. You know, back in October last year, Rod Rosenstein had a news conference. They indicted 2 Chinese guys who were producing tons of this stuff, tons of it, and like a microgram will kill you. And they're producing tons of it and shipping it to the United States. China says, it's not fair to blame us for this. I mean, China, they control everything over in that country.
Where's it come in? The West Coast, you figure?
It actually comes in through Canada.
Oh, of course.
There's a huge Chinese population in Canada. When they handed over Hong Kong, all the triads, all the Tongs, all the Chinese gangsters moved to Canada. 30% of Vancouver is Chinese.
I'm sure Justin Trudeau has a handle on it.
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean, that is scary. And are we going to see NAFTA renegotiated? Do you think, Curtis?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
in the midst of that right now.
Because Mexico wants to be our friend. They realize they've got a deal with this guy. We're not just going to roll over.
Yeah, and you know what? Too, this TPP, which we were against, that Trans-Pacific Partnership along the Pacific Rim, and President Obama. Oh yes, we got to go with the TPP. We're gonna, and I have a great jacket that I love, and I looked in the lapel, said "Made in Vietnam." And, I mean, wait, what?
If you look at the TSA uniforms, the guys that go through your drawers,
don't tell me.
They're made in Mexico.
Oh, for real?
The uniforms are made in Mexico.
So, but the argument
even
is,
our Border Patrol uniforms made in Mexico.
But if we don't join the TPP,
right.
does China take over that whole region of the world?
No. In fact, if we join TPP, China would then build factories in Vietnam to ship all their stuff to the U.S. tax-free. So it would actually have the effect of bringing those countries closer into China's orbit. So that's one of those phony arguments that they used to put out. Oh, we need TPP to counter China. No, it's not that simple. It's never that simple.
And then what's before we get off the tariff and all of the trade, what's the current status of the steel and aluminum tariffs that President Trump announced?
Well,
steel and aluminum,
he put in some exemptions for some of our good friends,
Canada and Mexico.
Yeah. But they're going to go into effect, and what it is doing, it's forcing all the other countries in the world, European Union and others, to deal with the fact that China is overproducing steel and trying to drive all the competition, everybody out of business. So we're going to create an alliance. We're going to have a coalition of countries against China. So that's moving along quite nicely.
Well,
and now Japan, by the way, Japan's down in Mar-a-Lago today because they want to get an exemption on their steel. So as everybody's like, there's going to be, let's make a deal here, folks. We got President Monty Hall. Let's make a deal.
Is that what you expect to come out of this Japan summit?
Yeah, Japan is our ally against China. That's the way it's going to shape up here.
Kind of like the way he put a multilateral force together to go after the chemical weapons in Syria.
Right.
He's going to do that on the trade front.
Well, exactly right. And that's a really good point, Joe, is what we did in Syria was enforce the rules. There's a hard international treaty against chemical weapons. You got to do something if somebody violates that. We've got hard treaties against the kind of cheating that China does, and he's putting together a coalition to confront China. It's enforcing the rules. People say, but I'm all for free trade and Trump's against it. No, you can't have free trade if somebody's not playing by the rules. And he's enforcing the rules so we can actually have free trade, which we have not had.
So you're in the administration, or you're consulting, and you're talking down in Washington, D.C. It's got to be frustrating when the president gets Kim Jong-un to the table, and the Kim Jong-un to say the words, we're thinking about denuclearization.
Right.
Kim Jong-un is saying this. And then for President Xi...
He can barely speak English, but he can say denuclearization. I know Americans who can't say that.
W couldn't even say that, man. Yeah, no, nuclear. And then for President Xi to say, we're thinking, we might be able to work with this whole tariff situation.
Right.
It's monumental. It must be frustrating within the White House that all is about all the gossip. I mean, when we should be concentrating on things like that.
Is that amazing?
Yeah.
Is that amazing? I mean, Kim Jong-un, who can barely speak English, can say denuclearization, and then you have these native English speakers over at CNN, and all they can say is Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels, porn star. I mean, it's pathetic.
So how's the president feeling about Paul Ryan leaving? Is he? I mean, honestly, between us, Chris, he's happy.
It's between you and me.
Between you and me. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, it's kind of like somebody. I'm not saying this is what the president said, but I read this on Twitter somewhere, so it's like a deep analysis. It said it's kind of like Eisenhower retiring the day before D-Day.
Like that, yeah. So this looks good. And I think the president would like Scalise. But you think McCarthy's going to be who's in?
I'll tell you who I'd like. I'd like Collins.
Oh, very interesting.
From up there in Buffalo. First guy to endorse Trump, he should be Speaker of the House.
Yeah. Might something like that happen, do you think? Will we be surprised?
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
You never know. Curtis, appreciate it. Today is tax day. If you had your druthers, how would you reform the tax code?
How would I reform? Give it all to me. Yeah. That's how I reform.
No, I'm hoping this president does away with the IRS, man. I keep hoping. Maybe Steve Forbes will come down because Steve has some great flat tax ideas.
Right.
I mean, and his tax cuts are good, but we know it's limited up to, I think it runs till 2000.
Got to have like 100% deductibility for investing in this country. Yeah. That's what it is. Look, he laid out a plan, the president's plan, tax cut, trade reform, regulatory reform, energy reform. You do those four things, you're going to have you're going to have an economy like unbelievable.
Yeah. You're doing a great job, Curtis Ellis.
You're doing a great job.
We appreciate your friendship, my friend. Thank you. God bless you, Curtis Ellis, Senior Policy
Anytime,
Advisor.
even without the salmon, I'll be here.
America First Policy and David Burke's Cuisine.
Yay.
Great to have you.
Jersey Joe's Diner.
There it is, baby, right here on AM 970, The Answer.
Everybody knows this guy. No, everybody knows he can do a radio show. Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970, The Answer.